Welcome to the next episode of Collector's Edition. We're back at the brown desk. Today we're going through Bundaberg. It's an Australian icon. In 1888 the factory opened. 7 men opened it. They said, what can we do with all this molasses? Instead of putting it in cakes, we'll put it into, I don't know, rum. So in 1889, the first 22,500 gallons roll off the production line in unmarked bottles. If you have one of these unmarked bottles, you never have to worry about money again. They haven't found any recently, but the last one sold for a lot of money. In 1890, they start sending Bundy across Australia, first to Western Australia. Then Sydney and Melbourne go, where's ours? So they start sending it out to Sydney and Melbourne. Then there was a recession and Bundy goes into receivership. 3 years later, in 1893, the distillery is bought by 3 businessmen. Now, they were either really smart or they really liked rum. Everything's going great. Then, bang! 1907, fire breaks out in the factory. Dead of night, lots of damage to the factory itself, and a lot of ruined stock. But that wasn't the worst thing to happen. Years later, in 1939, lightning struck. Quite literally, the factory goes boom. Millions of litres of molasses flows into the Burnett River, which causes the river to catch on fire, despite all efforts to stop it, making some rather tasty marinated fish. 3 years later, 1939, the distillery is finally back to its former glory, and if you do go to the Bond store in Bundaberg, it's the same factory as I'm talking about now. They have recently expanded it, but basically it's the original standing structure from 1939. During World War II, the Bundy team noticed that US visiting soldiers were mixing their Bundy with cola. So Bundy goes, we can do that. And the first Australian rum and cola was produced by Bundaberg Rum. In 1951, Bundy hired scientists to sort of change and improve their recipe and flavour since the 1888 recipe that I was still using at the time. In 1961 we start seeing yellow labels, the square bottle, and of course Bundy Bear. In 1974 the distillery expands, and now Bundy is producing basically everything at the factory. They were making their Bundy, they were sending off their barrels, and they weren't getting as much as they were sending away coming back from the bottler. So they thought, we've got enough money, let's expand. So now they bottle it at the factory. In 1985, those scientists that were hired back in the 50s, we should put a barrel of stuff, say 10 years, and we'll call it Black Label. It was a hit in 1995. It went off the shelves like crazy, and that's when we sort of start seeing the beginning of the master distilleries, but not quite yet. In 1993, Dark and Stormy is born, bringing together 2 of Bundaberg's most famous icons, Bundaberg Rum and Bundaberg Ginger Beer. 2008, we're sort of skipping ahead a little bit. Bundy Red is born. It's a revolution in rum making, filtering it through red gum. And within the first 2 years of Bundaberg Red being released, it made up 15% of Bundaberg's market. In 2011, this bottle came out, which is a 10-year-old rum, and it's the very first limited release from the Master Distillers collection. 2011 was when the MDC was born. That was made up of Phil Larson, Rick Prosser, and Damien O'Neill. In 2003, Roads to Recovery was released, and it was to help. In 2011, floods devastated Queensland. So Bundaberg go, we need to raise money, we need to help people. So they had a 5-year barrel sitting around in 2013. And if you were a Bundaberg resident, you could go to the bottle store on a particular day, show them your license of where you live, and you got a special Watermark edition bottle, which on my bottle it says commemorative rum. But it had their street address on it. And that was Bundy's gift, sort of to give people Bundaberg a helping hand, and whatever money was raised from the Watermark collection went into relief for flood relief, and that's still going today. 2014 marked 125 years of Bundaberg. They did release a bottle, and they released 1,888 of them, so they are very rare and very expensive by now. 2014 they were quite cheap for what they were, and that included one of these bottles, same size, and then I think it was 2 miniature bottles, glasses in a big box that tore apart. It looked awesome, amazing. So that's basically a brief history of where Bundaberg started and where it's come to. Now I've got some Bundy bottles here, which I'll probably show you a better look on the video. We've got this first one here, which is called the Bundy Rum. Now this is a bottle that's mass produced. It's not limited edition, nothing like that. But it shows the 1920 label, the very first label that was on the bottles. It's the only bottle to show Bundy, not Bundaberg. Because it's mass produced, we do have the Bundaberg Rum lettering on the neck of the bottle. It is a square bottle, and you can only get these at the Bond store, but you can order them through the Bond store online. They no longer make them with yellow lids, so the yellow lids are now collectible. That's the same with Bundy Red. If you have a Bundy Red bottle with a red lid, they're now collectible because they now make them with black lids, similar to this one. So that's the first bottle. My second bottle is from the Broncos win in, give me a second, sorry, one of the years. Well, it says over 120 years, so it was before 2014. And it was, Broncos won the NRL Cup, and they made 43,000 of these bottles. This is bottle number 39,460, so it was rather late because I did order it through the bottle store. But you have to buy a select number of bottles for them to deliver it to you. So yes, I got that in a mixed pack with some royal liqueur, which is really nice, with milk and some other stuff in it. This is the 10-year small oak vat finish. It is the very first in the Master Distillers collection. You can see that they've changed a few things over the years. The Bundaberg logo has changed with the Master Distillers, and I think they've actually gone away from the polar bear and made their own label, which is still stamped on top of the bottle. So yes, Phil Larson, Rick Prosser and Damien O'Neill created this. They are the scientists at the Bond store, and if you do a Bond store tour, they will go through it with you. You'll probably most likely meet the scientists that develop these, but they do work year round to create a yearly bottle, and they do make these one-off sort of small batches, which which aren't very small, because this is a limited edition. It is bottle number 5432. No one thought these would go very well, but they did. They went very well. And that one's a 10-year age one. I can't remember what order they go in, but I know this one is third. This one was the third one to come out in the Master Distillers collection. It's got a little blurb here that tells me that it's the third one. That's what I know. And this is the port barrel. I have cracked one of these, and they are very young, the port barrel one. But yes, this one is also limited edition. This is 6005. And this one was only limited to, I think, under 10,000, whereas this one was over 10,000. It is finished in a port barrel from South Australia, Barossa region. It is a 6-year-old, but it is very smooth and it is very yummy. Should not probably crack these open, but you gotta try them. This one is a Golden Reserve. I have not cracked this open because I can't find any more of them. And this is number 440. And it's only got 4 numbers on the side, so I guess it's under 10,000 release. Oh no, this one says it's the third. I'm getting all mixed up. But yes, this is made in sherry and port barrels. So it's got a fruity flavour as well. And the rum in it is up to 11 years old, so it's just getting better with age. Yeah, it's just great. That one doesn't have numbers, so I don't know. Moving along. The 280. Now the 280 was made with 280 barrels of whiskey. The whiskey barrels from America. They won't tell you which whiskey, but I have drank one of these. It tastes very much like Jack Daniels or Jim Beam. And yeah, this one is numbered 45,111. And these square bottles are all 22 standard drink. Then we've got our Watermark collections. I got these both at the same time with a group of friends. I think we bought 6 bottles altogether. And so we've both got sort of consecutive ones, but they wouldn't send out consecutive ones. So I've got numbers 6,567 and 6,569. But yes, I have not cracked these open. But you can still get 5-year-old Bundy Rum. I don't think it's called the Watermark anymore, I think, but some of the funds of the 5-year-old rum still go to the flood relief. Then there's small batches. These are very limited, but in saying that, you still get a batch number, batch 1 and batch 2 I've got, and you still get a bottle number, but you can still buy a batch 1 and batch 2. So I don't know how very limited it is, but it's still collectible. They're still going up in price for some weird reason, even though you can still buy batch 1, batch 2, but the numbers are getting a lot higher. See, I've got bottle number 18,000 in that one, and 16,000 in this one. But you can still buy batch 1 here in my town. The vintage small batch is double distilled in 100-year-old port barrels. So I've cracked open one of these two, and this is number 7,000. I kept the lower number because I'm just like that. And these are very, very, very nice. I recommend drinking this one before the port barrel because this has a very nice flavour, taste is what I'm trying to say. This also has a very nice flavour, but this is almost double the price of this at the moment. So I recommend drinking the small batch vintage barrel. And yeah, that's my Bundy collection at the moment. I've got a couple of cracked bottles open at home, but these are the ones that sit in my collection day after day. They're all the Master Distillers ones, these ones, are all closed by cork. So you can't let them sit in the heat or else you start losing some of your alcohol. But yes, they are all very good bottles. They are very well crafted. Each bottle is handmade. These square ones, they're all handmade for the certain collection, so each one will be a little bit different. And yeah, so like and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to my channel, share me around. I got a Facebook page, Collector's Edition AU. Make sure to check it out. I'll see you next week. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I will see you. Yeah, like, subscribe. Thank you.